Hey everyone, welcome to another race. Today we have my entry to the Zwift World Series for 2024-2025. So, a quick rundown on the World Series. It's a 5 race series where there are qualifying events leading to a final. Riders from teams that performed well last year earn season passes, so some riders get automatic entry into the final. You can earn season passes by placing top tens in the finals, but because I'm not part of one of the big teams, I need to earn my way through the qualifiers. Now, today's race, top 19 go through, just to be clear. Sorry about the Discord notifications happening in the side. I wasn't able to race the first qualifier due to the timing of the World Champs semis, unfortunately, which kind of puts a bit of a dent in my World Series season. At the end of the World Series, the top 50 qualify for the Zwift Games, which that's my goal from the World Series. Now, today's race on peak performance includes the grade. It had a pretty stacked field, lots of really strong guys without passes, and guys coming from the world semis that weren't able to race last time as well. I've had a little bit of a rough week this week. So I was a little bit down on confidence um, heading in. So a few things I did in the lead up as we're about to get started. Um, because my legs were feeling pretty crap, I really focused on fueling the last few days. So I went into the race quite heavy. Um, I trusted myself that if my legs were there, I'm in the top 19 in the field. And yeah, so I weighed in a kilo heavier than the world semis. That's fine. No dramas there. And my legs did come back yesterday afternoon. I started to feel good again. So all good going into the race. And I felt pretty good in the warm up. Course map, I'll put it up here for those who don't know it. I did the community race, which I think I've posted a video to with Jammers a couple of weeks ago. So I learnt a bit and it was useful there. My plan today is to do as minimum as possible before the grade and then be in the top kind of group up the grade if possible. I was open to being in a bit of a break if something happened, knowing that the motivation to chase of like minded guys might not be there and could get a bit of a head start without putting in much extra work. Didn't really happen, but I was open to it and not fully committed on just sitting back doing zero. Honestly, not a heap happens. Up Titans, pretty standard. Most of the all the good riders made it. Um, there are a few little moments like this where you see on the mini map someone's trying to stretch it out and get a bit. Jeez, the dog's going off its tits. Must be the postie. A few people trying to get off the front. These were those dangerous moves I was talking about, possibly being in. Um, But for the most part, they all came back together except for one that stuck, which I'll go to now. Heading into this part, there was a breakaway. It contained Nikki Hug of Switzerland, who I thought was going to be in the top 19 for sure, and then a couple of guys who needed to get away before the grade to get a head start, which I wasn't too concerned about at that stage. So nothing to really worry about here. Just kind of making sure nothing happens, and I'll get on to the grade now. Heading up into the grade, and I had some numbers in my head that I thought were sensible for various parts of the climb. Somewhere between 420 and 430 watts, I thought was certainly a sustainable pace for a fair chunk of time, especially with that bit of a gap that's coming up in the middle. We can see in the mini map. It's still a massive group, but I'd expect over the course of a 9 or 10 minute climb that people would eventually start to drop off as it progresses. But all the big hitters are there. I think Thomas Perrin's already gone up the road, and I think he did close to 7 watts a kilo for 9 minutes on the grade, which was a pretty insane ride by him. But for now, I'm just focusing on being up, ensuring I can get that top 19. Still feeling all right. Heart rate's at 171, so got some beats spare there. Just following along the big hitters. Make sure to get some draft on that flatter part in the middle, and now we're heading to the top of the grade. You can see some splits starting to occur. 3 guys are off the front. I thought about trying to go with that, but then, I wasn't too concerned. I was in a group with some really good guys that I knew would be good for the distance, like Ed Laverack, Hayden Pucker. They're two guys that you want as allies, kind of for the last part of this course. So I wasn't too stressed. Again, my heart rate's 171. So I still got beats spare there. So it was a solid grade, but I would say I had a little bit left, which is good. And I'm also in a good position where I can hopefully secure myself a top 19. Now, I want to take you to the descent because it was so much better than the community race where I struggled a bit. This was magic. So just about to get into the descent, and I decide I want to be the first into the tuck today because I found that when you're the one in the tuck, things are easier. There we go, straight into the super tuck, and instantly create a little bit of separation between the rest of the group. Ruben, who raced the community race with me, followed along, and we were able to have a really good descent and catch up some of that gap on the front three, um, which was absolutely exactly what you want. Now, this bit's always the key part. It was no different today. You can see those gaps starting to open up. You can see my power graph with the big red efforts. I'm trying to get up to about 700 watts as much as possible, and then dipping back into that super tuck. Ruben is 3 seconds behind, and Hayden Pucker at 4 or 5. The fact that I'm descending faster than Pucker was obviously a big tick in my mind. And then we're closing in on that front three as well. Look, as far as I'm concerned, this was pretty much the perfect descent. Ruben catches me. We work together over the bridge and then get back into that final super tuck. You can see we've almost closed the gap to the leaders. Pucker's close to us, which he's going to be a big ally for us in the next kilometers. And then you can see we've put a little bit of distance into that group. Back there at about 16 seconds. And that group contains all very light riders. So if we have Hayden, it's going to be a bit harder for them to chase, even though a couple of them are his teammates. At this point, I'm more than happy to work. We're in a little group of six. I'm happy with the top six today. Not getting caught is probably as important as trying to win this race. So, doing some turns, sharing some turns with some of the other guys too. It was fairly cohesive, especially given that Abus had two. So that's completely understandable that Stefan wasn't on the front here. No dramas there. We eventually do come together for a bit of a sprint, which I'll take you to now. Obviously, the draft power up here could be beneficial in the final. Most of these riders still had it, so savvy racers holding it to the end to potentially put it to good use. Not really sure how I'd go in this sprint, and it's a sprint that obviously it's in a weird spot, so no one's really done it too often. I managed to go okay on it the other day, um, using it because I know it's going to last the 40 seconds here. And I think I found in the end that jumping first or close to it, being on the front foot, wasn't too bad a move because I end up in a bit of a bad spot timing wise and get swamped. Although all the riders that beat me had far better watts per kilogram. You can see some 16s, 15s there, and I'm doing 12.9, 13. So um, Tom Perrin just gets the win there. Ruben and Van Oust beat me. I know they've got me there. So easing up to the line for fifth. So a good result. Super happy to get the qualifier done. Felt pretty good. Matched it with some of the top guys, which I'm going to need to do in a fortnight's time when we go to the final. Kate had her race. They needed top 23 to qualify. She produced her best powers up the grade and beyond. Ended up isolated over the top of the Epic in a spot 24th, I think, with only 23 to qualify. And she descended beautifully as well. Everything I did, she did just as well. She caught a group. She went straight past them, put herself in the position to qualify with Zwiftcraft, and then took them down in the sprint at the end for 21st. So on a tough course for Kate, she's really shown that she stepped up this season. Super proud. Good morning for us, given that that was all complete by 6 a.m. for us. Next up, I'll provide a World Champs update, how things are tracking, what things are looking like for the Worlds in 3 weeks. But the next key race will be the final of this one. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you got anything to say. Well done to everyone who raced today. Cheers.